BCPS families. We are so excited to share with you a read aloud called Coral Reefs, written by Jason Chin with permission to share from Scholastic. As you listen to this text, we will stop at times and ask you to think about what is happening. After you finish listening to the story, first we will share some questions with you to think and talk about. Then you will see a writing prompt. You can use this writing prompt to respond to the text. You can then share your written response with your teacher. Finally, you will see some project ideas for enrichment and ways to have fun interacting with books. This week in 5th grade, you have been learning about the author's point of view. Today, as we are listening to the story, think about what is the author's point of view of this text called Coral Reefs. Now it's time for the read aloud. Enjoy!
Hey everyone! Today I'm going to read you a nonfiction text with permission from Scholastic. Our text is entitled Coral Reefs by Jason Chin. I am very excited to read this text because as I read nonfiction text, I prepare myself to focus on new knowledge and new vocabulary. As we read, I want you to be prepared to examine an author's reasons, evidence, and word choice in order to determine the author's point of view on a topic so that you can decide whether or not you agree with the author. In today's story, the author takes us on an ordinary visit to the library. A girl pulls a not-so-ordinary book from the shelves. As she turns the pages in this book about coral reefs, the city around her slips away and she finds herself surrounded by coral cities of the sea and the mysterious plants and animals that live, hunt, and hide there. As I think about the title and illustrations, I find that I'm wondering, why is there a girl swimming so close to a shark? Is that a building underwater? Are coral reefs dangerous? These wonderings make me want to read on and find the answers to my questions. Let's learn more about coral reefs and see what our author thinks. For more than 400 million years, corals have been building reefs in the Earth's oceans. Corals may look like plants, but they're actually animals. Some are soft and sway back and forth in the water, while others, called hard corals, are rigid. Corals are made up of polyps, and most have hundreds of tiny polyps on their surface. Now, I'm already wondering, what's a polyp look like? Are they used to defend against predator or capture prey? So let's keep reading to see if our questions are answered. Each polyp has stinging tentacles that it can extend to catch food. The polyps of hard corals build a limestone skeleton and live in indentations or cups along its surface. When a polyp is in danger, it can retract into its cups for protection. Hard corals are able to build their skeletons because of a remarkable partnership that they have with a type of algae. The algae live inside the polyp, and working together, the polyp and the algae build the coral's skeleton. There are thousands of kinds of coral, and each species has a different shape and color. Some have intricate branches, while others grow in mounds on the ocean floor. When a coral's polyps die, they decay, but the skeleton remains and new corals can grow on top of it. Over hundreds of years, the corals pile up and spreads across the seafloor, eventually forming a living mountain called a coral reef. Corals may be small, but they are incredible builders. Coral reefs are the largest structures built by any animal on Earth. The Belize Barrier Reef is over 180 miles long. Wow. Coral reefs are home to thousands of plants and animals. There are so many species living in reefs that they are often called the cities of the sea. These aquatic cities grow in tropical waters around the world. They start close to shore and extend out into the ocean. Different parts of the reef have different kinds of animals. All of these animals interact in a complex web of relationships, and each has its own place in the system. Many of the relationships are between predator and prey. Corals eat plankton, tiny organisms that float through the water. The polyps use their tentacles to catch the plankton so they can eat it. So there's part of our question answered from earlier. But corals aren't just predators. They are also prey. Coral polyps retreat into their cups for protection, but can't stop parrotfish. Parrotfish eat the algae that live inside the coral polyps. They use their special beaks to break through coral skeletons and gobble up the polyps inside. The chain doesn't stop there. Parrotfish are preyed on by larger fish like groupers and sharks, a series of species that eat each other like the coral, parrot, fish, and sharks is called a food chain. There are many different food chains on the reef, and altogether they make up the food web. Many species use the reef for protection. As the coral grows, it creates many cracks and crevices in the reef that make perfect hiding places for small fish. Squirrelfish use the reef for protection when predators like the Nassau grouper are on the prowl. In addition to evading predators, each species must also find food to survive. Moray eels have slender bodies that are perfectly adapted for navigating the narrow nooks and crannies of the reef. Hiding fish may be safe from groupers, but they still have to watch out for hungry morays. The sandy area between the reef and the shore is called the lagoon, and it is covered by beds of seagrass. The lagoon plays an important role in keeping the reef healthy. Pufferfish and seahorses are common in the lagoon. Many young fish take shelter in the seagrass before growing up and moving on to the reef. Rays visit the lagoon to hunt for shrimp and snails, and sea turtles eat the seagrass itself. Beyond the lagoon, corals start to appear, marking the beginning of the reef. Groups of fish called schools can be found swimming over the reef. Fish swim in schools for protection, and sometimes different species, such as white grunts and porkfish, will swim together to make an even bigger group. By working together, schooling fish have a better chance at survival. Many species have developed unusual adaptations that help them survive. The scorpion fish barely resembles a fish as it sits on the seafloor, waiting to ambush its prey. Predators had better watch out too. On its back are spines filled with a painful venom and effective defense. The frogfish goes fishing for its dinner. It changes color to blend in with its surroundings and dangles a special fin in front of its mouth to lure its prey close. When an unsuspecting fish takes the bait, the frogfish attacks and it rarely misses. The frogfish is one of the quickest fish in the ocean. The common octopus has a few uncommon adaptations. It can change the color and the texture of its skin to blend in with any environment. Being a master of disguise is perfect for hunting and hiding. If a predator does happen to find it, the octopus has a backup plan. It releases a cloud of ink that confuses its enemy. The scorpionfish, the frogfish, and the octopus are just a few of the many reef species with unique adaptations that aid in their survival. Sometimes different species work together to help each other survive. Many large predators like tiger groupers have a partnership with a tiny fish called neon gobies. The grouper fish visit the gobies for a cleaning. The gobies swim all over their customers, picking parasites and dead skin off their scales, gills, and fins. The groupers even let the gobies swim inside their mouths to clean their teeth. This arrangement works out well for everyone. The gobies get a free meal, and the groupers get a cleaning. At the end of the reef, the coral drops off dramatically into the depths. This is the reef wall, and beyond it is the open ocean. The tropical waters bordering reefs have very little life in them, making food scarce. Coral reefs, on the other hand, are like the oasis in the desert. They are teeming with life and provide feeding grounds for visitors. The largest fish in the world, the whale shark, visits the Belize Barrier Reef every spring to feed on the microscopic eggs of spawning reef fish. More than 4,000 kinds of fish and thousands of other species have been discovered in coral reefs, more than in any other part of the ocean. But that's not all. Scientists believe that reefs are home to millions of species that haven't been discovered yet. Remarkably, this enormous quantity of life is squeezed into just a fraction of the ocean. Coral reefs may be big, but they cover less than 0.5% of the total ocean floor. With so many species living in such a small space, it's no wonder coral reefs are called the cities of the sea. Like all cities, reefs are busy places and they are full of thousands of different relationships. Many of these relationships are between predator and prey, while others are partnerships that benefit everyone. All of these relationships make coral reefs some of the most complex ecosystems in the world. Each species has its place in the system, and all of them depend on the reef builders for their home. The corals. All right, I hope everyone loved learning more about coral reefs. I know I did. Here are some more facts and figures to learn more. I look forward to seeing your work.
Welcome back. Coral reefs tells information about the importance of coral reefs to our environment. Let's think about the following questions. What new information did you learn about coral reefs? Why are they important? What are some ways that people could help keep coral reefs healthy? Why do you believe the author wrote this text? What reasons did he include to support his thinking? Great job! Now let's write about it. Jason Chin wrote Coral Reefs as a nonfiction text, but follows a story format. He provides information about how important coral reefs are for the environment. Do you think his book strongly supported his point of view? Write a letter to the publisher, Scholastic, explaining whether you believe this text strongly supports the author's point of view. Coral reefs are important to the environment. Use information you learned in your response. Be sure to introduce the topic clearly and state opinion. Provide logically ordered reasons. Link opinion and reasons using words such as also, specifically. Provide a concluding statement. Now it's time to have some fun. Choose any of the activities that you see that you would like to do to go along with this text, Coral Reefs. Jason Chin uses a narrative or story-like format to tell about coral reefs. Think about a topic you know a lot about. Write a narrative nonfiction text to explain key information. Illustrate your book. Coral reefs are very special. Use recycled materials such as paper, cardboard, paper towel rolls, etc. to create a model of a coral reef. Tell someone about your coral reef and how it is important to the environment. Research coral reefs on Discovery Education. Take the opportunity to watch videos and read some articles. Tell someone what you have learned about coral reefs. Have fun!